Woo, baby. What a weekend. Finally got back into the win column.
I know, right? Did you see that strip sack that TJ Watt did?
That was pretty cool, actually. That pretty much swung the momentum back in your guys' favor. But, man, how about those Chiefs in the second half, man? Looked great. They looked like a team again. Ended up with the win.
You saw that strip sack, though, right?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, it was cool and all that too. But man, I can't believe we're back to 3-3. We're back in the race for the division and all that. So hopefully, man, we got to keep that momentum up.
But, dude, the strip sack.
We get it, okay? Good afternoon, sports fans. Welcome to this edition of the Trajan Temple Sportcast. I am your host, professional wrestler and Kansas City Chiefs fanatic, Christian Temple, joined by my side, as always, by my good friend, the terrible towel-twirling Trajan. How are we doing today, my good friend?
Amazing, man. Amazing. 3-3. Can't be more excited about it.
Oh, absolutely. 3-3. That's the best. That's exactly where you want to be at a week 7 going into the season, right?
It is.
Obviously, we're both very happy. Both of our teams were victorious this week against backup quarterbacks, funny enough. But obviously, my goodness, it was very stressful after the last few weeks for both of our teams. We trading wins and losses, probably against teams that we should have won against, but you know what? That's neither here or there. Kansas City Chiefs taking down the Washington football team, and the Pittsburgh Steelers taking down the Seattle Seahawks. And we will begin with that game now. Flipping over here to as you can see, the final score 23-20. The Steelers take it in overtime.
Hell yeah, brother. Okay, so recap of the game. Ben Roethlisberger. Okay. It wasn't like last week. 29-40, 229 yards, one tud, and one fumble that he obviously thought was, a forward pass, but can't argue with that one.
Tuck rule, question mark?
Oh my gosh. In that moment, like, my heart sunk. I'm like, this is the way we blow this. This is going to be how we do it. Lose to a backup Geno Smith Seahawks team. Oh my gosh.
Man.
But yeah, no, it was a crazy game. But no, Najee Harris, 24 carries, 81 yards, but he also had like 40 yards receiving too. So once again, total yards over 100 yards in the game.
Over 100 yards for scrimmage, yep.
Yep, so one thing that he might be able to break, he's on record for breaking both Le'Veon Bell's all-purpose yards as a rookie, which is stand for like 8 years now, and then also Franco Harris total yards. So it could happen.
There's a name for you.
Franco Harris did it in 14 games. He'd have 17 games to do. But it's what it is.
No pressure.
No pressure. But Deontay Johnson once again was our lead receiver. Mm-hmm. Opening touchdown, not an opening touchdown this time. We scored in the second half, but 9 receptions, 13 targets, 71 yards. He had a couple big drops there, and so did Claypool. I'll tell you one person that needs to get the ball more, and everyone in Steeler Nation is saying it. It's Pat Freiermuth, our second round draft pick.
The tight end, yes.
Yep, tight end. 7 receptions, 7 targets, caught everything that went to him, 58 yards. He moved the chains, and he was that security blanket. He's kind of just like any other tight end right now. They're not that fast, but they're elusive. They know where to find the weak spot in the coverage and pick up those yards. So I am all for him getting the ball more. Biggest story is TJ Watt, like we alluded to beginning. He was all over the field, making plays, showing why he is the highest paid defensive player there on the field. And no, I was loving it. I mean, he brought the intensity. He had like 3 batted down passes. One of them, I think he should have intercepted it, but he's just still batted it down. but no. And then, of course, the sack to put him out of field goal range in overtime, and then another sack, strip sack, to seal the deal there right over on their side of the field. So, pretty good day. Would I like to beat them 23-0? Yes, but I'll take an overtime win as long as it ends with a W.
As long as it ends with a W. Yes, definitely. Defense was the big story for actually both teams really. Even the Seattle defense, as beaten and bludgeoned as they are, they had some really impressive stops in there too, including the unforeseen tuck rule reincarnated in this game. But yes, T.J. Watt, I mean Minka Fitzpatrick, Devin Bush, everybody carried the load for you guys. And like I said, that moment, I could hear the superhero music in the background. T.J. Watt putting on his superhero cape and saying, "I am going to do this for my team, for my town, for my squad, and I'll do it for Big Ben because he hasn't done shit this whole game."
Pretty much.
No, can't argue with the results though. Defense was there, big time win for Pittsburgh. And speaking of big time wins, let's hear it now, Chiefs Kingdom. How about those Chiefs? Final score 31-13, going on the road to the nation's capital and taking care of business. Although I say taking care of business, but you can see very clearly that first half and that second half are two totally different stories, and I will go into more detail about that. Patrick Mahomes finished the day with a 32 out of 47 attempts, 68% completion rating for 397 yards, just short of 400, with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And you want to take a guess when those 2 touchdowns came and when those 2 interceptions came? Well, just take a look at the box score and you kind of get an idea. Holy smokes, what was he thinking? After that botched snap, he picks up the ball, and once again, I said it a few episodes ago too, sometimes you just gotta eat the sack, you know? When you throw up the ball like that, more likely than not, even though Mahomes has his magic, you know, he has his magical moments where he'll just throw it up in the air, and my God, someone in red with an arrowhead on the side of their helmet will come down with the ball miraculously, but it's not going to work 100% of the times. And when you're throwing it up there and there's nothing but maroon, burgundy jerseys and helmets, and maybe one Chiefs player in the vicinity, the odds are not in your favor. So you know what? You just got to, take your lumps, and you still got the field goal. You just take the points and go. I won't harp on it too much, though, because apparently whatever pep talk Andy Reid had with the team, whatever Spags did, whatever Bieniemy did, whatever adjustments they made at halftime, it worked. They came out steaming. They just strolled right through Washington, and very early in the fourth quarter took a 2-possession lead and just didn't look back from there. Darrell Williams getting his first start as the number 1 running back. Had a pretty average day. I say averages with the yards too. He did have 2 touchdowns today, which both first and goal, second and goal, just by the goal line. But 21 carries for 62 yards. 3 yards per carry, kind of an average day. Once again, Patrick Mahomes being the best rusher out of everybody, with averaging 10 yards per rush for 31 yards. Travis Kelce being the number 1 receiver today, although Tyreek Hill had had one of 2 receiving touchdowns. Travis Kelce with 8 receptions for 99 yards. Tyreek Hill, 9 receptions for 76 yards and the touchdown. And Demarcus Robinson, been a moment since I've called his name out, with the game-sealing interception, just absolutely burned the defender. And that is the kind of throw that I like to see. Just a dime up in the air, make the receiver run full speed and go and get a reach out, pull it in for 6. That's the kind of play I like to see, especially when they're pressing our receivers like that and there's no help over top. They're not always going to be able to cover deep, to cover 2 every single time. So when you find those weaknesses, that is when you take your shots down the field, and Mahomes picked a spot and made him pay.
Oh, exactly. No, the biggest thing that sticks out to me on your defense is no sacks. I mean, what's up with that?
No sacks, but I will say the defense held very strongly in the second half. They shut out the football team throughout the second half and also produced probably the greatest interception I've ever seen by a defensive lineman ever. Tershawn Wharton going up. Taylor Heineke fades back, tries to dump it off in the flat. Tershawn Wharton reaches up one hand, snags it down, and traps it on the offensive lineman's helmet and then brings it in for the pick. That was I saw that live, and I had no idea where the ball was. I had no idea where the ball was because the ball and their uniforms are so. For example, they look so similar, the colors and all that. It was pinned against his helmet. I had no idea where it was, and next thing I know, he's running up and running it towards the end zone. I'm like, oh, he picked it off. How about that? So, no, you're right. No sacks today. But like I said, I brought this up before we recorded. They're going to go up against Tennessee this week. Obviously, Derrick Henry, he's going to be a monster. He always is. We expect that at this point. But having a performance where you shut out a team for an entire half and force a turnover, you need to piggyback off that and use that momentum to your advantage as long as you possibly can, especially going on the road yet again against a team that is really finding their stride. I mean, they just took down the Buffalo Bills, who I have as my pick for Super Bowl contender. Yeah. So.
And I have it as a team that anyone in the AFC can beat.
just never ending with you on that, is it? Just never ending with you. So, God dang it, that got me. Alrighty. I like how they have Tyreek Hill on defense here too for one tackle also because of the interception that happened. But with that being said, yes, 31-13 is your final. Kansas City Chiefs back at 500. Also, Pittsburgh Steelers also back at 500. We will move on to the other scores in the NFL now too, and we will start with the Thursday night game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers take down the Philadelphia Eagles. Although on a very controversial taunting call, I have to say, he just looked in his general direction, it seemed like, and that seemed to be enough for the refs to throw the flag on that. That was interesting. Of course, I don't think anyone expected Philadelphia to win that game, but that really kind of put the nail in that coffin for Tampa Bay. I'm not saying anything suspicious going on behind the scenes, but that was a very interesting way for that game to turn.
No, there's definitely some questionable reffing this weekend, especially with the Steelers game, and there's a questionable roughing the passer in the Cardinals game.
We'll begin to that one shortly. Yes,
refs need to do better.
Exactly. If you're going to have these rules, there has to be a fine line somewhere, and it seems like 1 week that line is moving, here, there, anywhere. You just don't know. It's a roll of a dice at this point. But speaking of rolling the dice, Urban Meyer rolled the dice this week and actually rolled up a victory. The Jaguars
grinding his way to a win.
Grinding his way to the win, not Gruden grinding. He's just grinding his way to a victory in London, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, taking down the beaten, battered, and bruised Miami Dolphins. The final score of 23-20.
Yeah, and this was Tua's first game back, so it wasn't like it was a backup quarterback. It was with Tua. Maybe he was a little rusty coming off his injury. I don't know there. I kind of feel for him being down in Miami, but yeah, no, great win. Glad for the Jaguars. They're still winless in the United States, though.
Exactly. The 20 game losing streak is still continental based. You say you feel for Tua. I feel for Brian Flores. I mean, here was a coach that seemed like he had turned the Dolphins' misfortunes around last year. It seemed like he was really getting them on the right track, and then things just started going haywire this season. There were expectations of them being competitive with the Buffalo Bills even, but everything's just falling apart, it seems like, with the injuries and now Tua coming back and still not looking like himself, and then you go to London and then you lose to a team that hasn't won in 20 straight games, so I guess time will only tell if he can bounce back from that.
Yeah, no, I mean, sometimes it's just not your day. I mean, it is what it is.
Well. Speaking of not your day, these next three games are definitely not any of these teams' day, and I speak
Oh
specifically of
God.
the New York Giants, the Houston Texans, and the Detroit Lions. Starting with the Rams first, giving the Giants the business big time with a 38-11 slaughtering. The Carson Wentz led Indianapolis Colts surprisingly taking down the Houston Texans at Lucas Oil with a final
Yep.
score of 31-3, and the surprisingly actually decent and showing some good strides in the positive direction, the Cincinnati Bengals taking down the Detroit Lions with a final score of 34-11. Now the Detroit Lions being the number one pick so far as it stands, being 0-6.
Yeah, no, I just don't know what it's going to take for the Lions to be a good team. I just don't see any bright spots on that team. And it's just
Everyone
sad.
had such high hopes for Jared Goff, but my goodness, it seems like the Rams definitely won that trade thus far with Matt Stafford leading the helm there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it'd be different if Megatron was still there.
Ooh, Megatron. What was it? What if you had Megatron? You had Barry Sanders in the backfield or something. Then you'd have
Yeah.
a team right there.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
Speaking of a team, my goodness gracious, the Green Bay Packers once again showing that they still own the Chicago Bears, winning by a final score of 24-14. And I'm sure everyone has seen that clip by now of Aaron Rodgers running into the end zone and with a few choice words for the Bear Country out there in Chicagoland.
You know what? I love it. As a fellow shit talker myself, I mean, the guys there, they're giving him the bird, and yeah, no, tell them you own them. Yes, you fucking do.
Because you do, man. So the Packers move up to a 5-1 record. Chicago actually still in the running for a wild card spot. How in the world did they get 3 wins? I just can't even remember. Of course, I guess one of them was the Lions, so I don't even think that should really even count.
And one
As
was a Gruden-led Raiders.
it was, that's true. It was against the Raiders also. Moving on to the team that you have labeled as frauds now. The Baltimore Ravens taking down the Los Angeles Chargers by a final score of 34-6. Holy smokes, what happened?
So they did a really good job of attacking Justin Herbert. This whole game, he was, I mean, he was pursued. And so hats off to the Ravens. They figured out how to do it. Shows what happens when you actually have a defense on your team. You might want to take
Absolutely.
notes. But but yeah, no, I couldn't believe. I thought this was going to be the game of the week, and it was just a dud.
It
I
was.
mean, it's
Oh,
good for the
Lord.
Ravens fans.
Oh, absolutely. And I mentioned in a previous video that I believe that the Bills are the most complete team in the AFC, but the Ravens are definitely a close second, I would have to say, both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Their defense has definitely stepped up, and of course Lamar is, he's playing not not probably as well, not as much as his MVP season, but he's definitely trying to keep pace with that too. It's been all phases of the game for the Ravens thus far, and that's their record definitely shows it.
Oh yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for that loss to the Raiders that first game,
Mm-hmm.
they could be 6-0 right now.
They could
So it's pretty crazy.
they could very well be. All right, we'll get up to another team that started off 3-0 and is now 3-3. But what has happened to the Carolina Panthers? But obviously, we all know the answer to that one. It seems that without that dynamic of Christian McCaffrey, things just go south so quickly for Sam Darnold in that offense there. Greg Joseph giving Vikings fans a heart attack, missing a potential game-winning field goal, but luckily Kirk
Yeah.
Cousins to the rescue with a pass to Osborne, a 27-yard touchdown to seal the win. The Vikings and Bears also the same record here. Who do you see breaking through and being second best in the NFC North?
I like the Vikings just because of the coaching.
With
I
Mike
have
Zimmer and
no faith in that.
no faith in Nagy. Well, you know what? It's funny you mention that because the Vikings fans still have no faith in Mike Zimmer. The hashtag Fire Zimmer has been trending for Minnesota now. Um,
Yeah, I just don't know. They've had some bad string of injuries over these last few
that
years,
is true.
and I don't want to say Zimmer's a bad coach, but uh, you look at the division he's in. He's in with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you're not going to be the best in the division.
It's like the Bills, Jets, and Dolphins for many years when you had Belichick and Brady in your division. So you feel you kind of have that helpless feeling. All you can do is hope to keep up as much and maybe snag a wild card. So that might just be what the Vikings and Bears will have to play for this year.
Oh yeah.
Alrighty, well, moving on to another. Oh my goodness, this just breaks my heart what has happened to this team, honestly, because they had so much expectations, and now just the football gods have just curb stomped them back into reality. The Cleveland Browns are taken down by the Arizona Cardinals by a final score of 37-14. Arizona keeping up the final perfect record still in this season, 6-0 for the year, but the news here isn't that, it's how beat up the Cleveland Browns roster is. And we'll just go through a list of names here, too. Baker Mayfield, Kareem
Yep.
Hunt, Nick Chubb, Jarvis Landry, and OBJ is questionable to return.
Oh yeah.
So,
No, it's great. You
it's
know, I have to think
it's great.
the
It's great, says the
it's
biased Steelers fan over here. Oh Lord.
you know I don't want them to be injured. I want them to be playing at full strength. I don't want them to have any excuses. But I have to think the football gods have a sense of humor. You build them up. Oh, they're this great team. Oh, you're trash.
They just get it truly is a factory of sadness in Cleveland, and you feel for the dog pound. It's like they had such a great end to last year's season. They finally got that monkey off their back and getting a playoff win, and then they come in with expectations of doing more, and then just like I said, reality just slaps them right back in the face. And we will see if reality will ever slap Arizona in the face, because my goodness, they definitely looked like
6-0.
they looked like world beaters against Cleveland. It wasn't even fair how strong they looked. But time will tell. It's still the Los Angeles Rams are still a threat to them, I would say. We'll see if maybe Seattle or San Fran maybe surprises them with a victory. I mean, any given Sunday we shall see. But right now it's Arizona's division to lose, so we will see how that goes. Speaking of division to lose, my goodness, the other former 3-0 team, the Denver Broncos, uh, going against the Grudenless Las Vegas Raiders and falling to them by a final score of 34-24. Um, the special teams coach for the Raiders taking over for the Gruden Grinders duties, and seemed to have the right game plan for Denver.
Oh yeah. I was actually talking to a Raiders fan. They think, from what has come out, that Gruden may have had too much control to a detriment of this team,
Mm,
and that it might be the best thing that ever happened to him. So I mean, there's some talent on this team.
yes.
Uh, if they put them in position, trust Carr, I mean, they can do a run for the money.
Absolutely. Um, do we now label the Broncos as frauds after their 3-0 start?
I think we had them labeled as frauds when they were 3-0.
We just knew. You just
I
knew that
just
bubble was going to burst at any moment.
Well, they had the Jags, they had the Jets, they had the New York Giants. I mean, I just don't trust them. I don't. I wish I could, because I really do like Teddy Bridgewater. really do like him as a person.
Absolutely.
But I just can't put my faith in this team.
Well, speaking of faith, there's a lot of faith going on in Jerry World right now. The Dallas Cowboys go up to Gillette Stadium and take care of business by a final score of 35-29. And you want to talk about a roller coaster of emotions? I was watching this game, and my goodness, it was back and forth and back and forth. Towards the end with the scoring and all that. You have Dallas taking the lead. You have the New England Patriots driving down the field, scoring a long touchdown to Kendrick Bourne, getting the 2-point conversion, tying it up, and then sealing it with the game-winning touchdown in overtime. Old CeeDee Lamb all by himself, even throw a little taunt in there with a little trot into the end zone. But nonetheless, the Dallas Cowboys 5-1 so far this year. Obviously, even with Mike McCarthy at the helm, that high-end talent of theirs, once it's going on all cylinders, it's pretty tough to stop their momentum.
I'll go ahead and just say it right now. Frauds.
Frauds. There we go. All right.
Frauds. Cowboys are acting like they beat 2018 Belichick and Tom Brady.
Ooh, not even close.
They're not. They beat a Tom Brady-less Patriots, who is led by Matt Jones or whatever.
Mac Jones. You were close.
Matt Jones. And I mean, yes, it's still Bill Belichick, but he hasn't looked as bright in these games here, and it's almost like he's lost his edge. So
you say he doesn't look bright, but my God, his son looks lit up as hell.
He looks coked up. Let's just tell it how it is.
I know he looks lit. He looks lit up, doesn't he? He's lit up like a Christmas tree on the sidelines. My God, it seemed like every 2 minutes they would show his face on the TV. I'm like, why do we have to see this every single time? I mean, this is not.
Why are you doing this?
This is not entertaining at all. This looks like the local meth head just down the street from where we work, and it's just sad.
Oh yeah. No, I just can't get behind it. I don't know. I mean, the Cowboys have done this every year. Everyone hypes up them. They have this offense. They fall apart.
They're like
in the NFC.
They're like the NFC version of the Los Angeles Chargers.
Pretty much.
All right, and moving on to our main event this week, the Monday Night Showdown between the Buffalo Bills and the Tennessee Titans. What a game this was. The Tennessee Titans taking down Buffalo by a final score of 34-31. Derrick Henry, 130-plus rush yards and 3 touchdowns in 2 straight games. And if anyone thought that he would regress this year after the season he had last year, he is proving them dead wrong. And I am mortified by the fact that we have to play him next week. Also at Nissan Stadium. My God, I really hope our defense comes ready because Derrick Henry will charge through them with no mercy if we don't have a game plan to stop him. And even still, I used to say, like, if you stop Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill isn't going to do much. But even Tannehill right now, he looks dialed in. And that's... He can be like a Teddy Bridgewater where he doesn't make mistakes and he protects the ball. And that with a strong running game is a deadly combination, and I am not looking forward to having to deal with that. Chiefs will have to bring their A game, and I certainly hope they do. So that is our show this week. Pittsburgh is on a bye next week, so nothing going on much in Steeler Nation. But as I mentioned, next Sunday at noon, the Kansas City Chiefs will travel to Nissan Stadium to take on Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans. And fingers crossed they come to play, because if they don't, then we may be looking at 3-4. And when I think of 3-4, I think of our defense, and I hate thinking about 3-4 defense. Kind of gives me flashbacks, but I guess that's just the way life goes. You got memories you need to repress. But on that note, any closing thoughts today, Trajan?
One thing you left out on the Bills-Titans game, and it was kind of the most amazing thing. The Titans held them up on the goal line.
Oh my God, that's right.
I mean, they're so close. I mean, Bills in the red zone. You
Mm-hmm.
think they're gonna score,
Yep.
and they hold them goal line to win that game. So
I
that's pretty impressive.
I swear I think Josh Allen just lost his footing there. That was I know that defensive end, that was a great individual effort. He not only did he push through Dawkins, but he had his left arm free and he corralled Josh Allen there too. It just when I saw it live, I thought, did he just slip? But that's a Josh Allen, freaking 6'6", 200, 20, 30 pounds or whatever too. Is still a big dude. So to do that and to get past your blocker and
Oh
stop
yeah.
him, that's a hell of an individual effort. And yes, Tennessee definitely earned that win. So which means Kansas City is going to have to earn the win if they are going to play against Tennessee. So, but on that note, thank you everybody so much for watching. Click like if you liked the video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. We are nearing the halfway point of the season, and we appreciate each and every single one of you sticking with us. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great night, everyone.
We the best